Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again. Simple man diagnosed with NPD, giving you guys the facts on narcissistic personality disorder and the stuff that goes on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, but keep in mind, I am no clinician. I can only speak to my own experiences. Oh my god. Anyways, so I was thinking about this the other day. When I made my other video about like how sensitive basically narcissists are, it got me thinking about back in the day when I had some friends who felt the need to like basically cut me down when I was being grandiose, right? And that felt, bad. I'm thinking about it and it's like, I made a metaphor on this in that video in the comments where it's like, imagine if my self-esteem was a cup full of water, right? Cutting me down isn't removing water and making me come to a healthy level of self-esteem, right? That's just fucking throwing away the entire cup, and all that's left is rage and shame. You gotta remember that grandiosity is a very thin veil to basically protect against all that. It needs a constant propping up. It's like a fence that is rotting and old, and you keep trying to like force basically the old piece of the fence back on without getting anything new. And so it's and then the thing is, the reactions you're going to get from somebody who's pathologically narcissistic are not going to be good when you do that. They're going to lash out. They're going to be mean. They're going to cry. I don't know. They're going to be doing a lot of stuff that are basically defense mechanisms to protect that grandiosity to be threatened, because it's the only thing that keeps them from the horror of, the inner emptiness and all of that. So to me, it feels so counterproductive. You know what I mean? Like, what do you have to gain by cutting somebody like me down? Other than, and especially if we're not maybe not bragging about being like, oh, I'm the best thing in the world, or you guys are nothing. Like using it to be mean, right? I'll make jokes like, yes, I'm the best person in the world, and like say it as a joke, because that's kind of how I cope with my grandiosity. Like, I'm sure you guys see it here a lot where I do that. And as long as it's not hurting anybody, I don't see the point. You're just going to cause more issues for yourself. But and this next part, I really want to dive into a little bit deeper, because I think it's like an ethical question. I want to hear your guys' opinions on it too. I am unable to feel good about myself unless I'm in a grandiose state, right? So is the solution to a narcissist being, narcissistic, is it to make them feel like shit all the time? So I've been thinking about the ethics of grandiosity. It's like, should I not be able to feel grandiose? Because I feel like the issue is when you use that grandiosity to justify hurting others, or basically tell them that they're nothing compared to you, or doing that in order to prop up your unstable self. But for me, it's like, it feels like there's this emphasis on the grandiosity, when I feel like that's one of the least important issues with narcissism. The core of narcissism is not grandiosity, it's self-hate, and the grandiosity is a symptom of that. And so then that question becomes, how on earth do you promote healthy self-esteem? To some degree, I need it from the outside, right? I think we all, to some degree, get our self-esteem from the outside. I mean, think when you're a kid, you're like being told genuine compliments about yourself, being praised for things that you genuinely did, your achievements and stuff like that, in a non-grandiose manner, but you're also being shown love. And so I was starting to think about what kind of compliments wouldn't be feeding narcissism, wouldn't be feeding the grandiosity, and instead addressing the inner self, the bad shit that's going on in there. And I think the key is the hierarchical aspect of it. Because I only think in hierarchies. And some of the things that bolster my grandiosity the most is when I'm being compared to other people. Those are the best if you want to flatter a narcissist, just do that. Like, honestly, just tell them, oh yeah, you're the smartest person in the world. Oh yeah, you're so much smarter than your coworkers. I don't get what they don't see about that. Those are the things that will really get me going. But instead of that, if you want to make a narcissist feel good about themselves in a much more genuine way, I think that the solution is to give them compliments that are genuine and based off of achievement, that are not compared to other people. Instead of that's kind of the issue with some of the things that you can compliment somebody on, right? Because like something like IQ. If I like, for example, I have a very high IQ, right? And that is on a percentile score. If you're in the, like, you know, if you have an IQ of 133 or whatever, you're in the top 2%. That's not my IQ, by the way. That you're in the top 2% of the population. It's inherently comparative. And I feel like a lot of our compliments nowadays, I guess maybe because we're in a more narcissistic society, which I would make that's a whole other video. But in short, we're in a more narcissistic society in terms of healthy narcissism is what I would say. Anyways. And I don't think that, again, I view healthy narcissism and pathological narcissism like on opposite ends of the spectrum, because one's about self-hate, one's about genuine confidence. But then let's say my little idea there doesn't work. That doesn't encourage genuine self-esteem. Is it preferable to have us be miserable all the time? Because for me, how I'm kind of going about it is, since I am in therapy, it's like, why can't I basically bolster my self-esteem with outside validation while I'm working on myself in a way that is going to be more healthy for me in the future? I don't see much wrong with that. You know, like some people ask me like, oh, doesn't this feed your ego? It's like, well, yeah, but at the same time, I'm getting comment after comment that's negative, completely pouring out the cup, as I said, you know, putting me in my place. And that doesn't feel particularly good. I don't know how, like, it's led to very violent self-esteem fluctuations, which sucks. But if I avoid looking at those comments, I can feel pretty damn good about myself for a while. And I'm not justifying hurting other people with that grandiosity. I'm not putting people down because of the grandiosity. I think people who are in a grandiose state are less likely to put other people down because they don't need the bolstering of self-esteem in that moment. I'm going to be, honestly, for me, it's going like, I'm going to be more, I might be a little bit more arrogant, but I'm going to be more generous. I'm going to be more, I guess I'm only going to be, I'm going to be less neurotic, less emotional. I'm going to take my frustrations out on people less because all that stuff's being hidden. The grandiosity is kind of covering that stuff up. And I don't want to show that. Don't make me show it, please. I'll show that in therapy. I don't know. It's a hard question because where does healthy self-esteem and then feeding my defense mechanisms, where are those lines? I have no idea. Again, this is why I kind of want other people's input on this, because I really don't know. And I feel like a lot of clinicians don't even know that. Hence why we haven't really found a super effective treatment. We don't have like a narcissism specific treatment like DBT for borderlines and stuff like that. And hell, everybody has their moments of being like, not pathological, but like arrogant, right? So you get a new job that you're really proud of. You're going to be like a little narcissistic then. You're going to be really proud. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the only issue about this being a pathological response is how consistently we use it to protect against other feelings. And I'm sure that like some people do use pathological narcissistic defenses in certain times, right? I made a video on this a while ago, when you're self-conscious about something. You're going to try to pretend like people's comments about it doesn't bother you. You're going to try to say that you actually take pride in it, stuff like that. Narcissism is effectively just the disorder of pathological self-consciousness. And do we view it as wrong when people do it like that? Maybe it's not the healthiest coping mechanism, but is it wrong? And me saying, oh, is it wrong, quote unquote, that's black and white thinking, right? But I feel like it is often viewed as that. The grandiosity in itself, these defense mechanisms in itself are flawed. And I don't think that's a genuine way, I don't know, accurate. I don't think that's I think it's a disingenuous way to view it. I think that was just the opposite. Never mind, fuck my life. But yeah, it's like, what makes the grandiosity in these defensive mechanisms in itself wrong? I don't think it's wrong. I think it's unhealthy for them and possibly the people around them. But I feel like we have almost black and white thinking towards the defense mechanisms that come into play with pathological narcissism. These are the things that keep us protected. These are the things that helped us survive childhood, right? And we have to realize that these aren't inherently bad things. They're just things that are not helpful to us anymore. These are things we do not need anymore. These are not the most efficient ways to get our needs met. These are things that are actively damaging our lives. So in that sense, sure, they're bad, but these things can also be used in healthy ways. I always say that recovery from narcissism is effectively using these defense mechanisms in ways that are helpful to you and the people around you. I don't know, using your confidence and arrogance to like get shit done in a job, using your cognitive empathy to help people, and not be affected by their emotions. And I think those are positive ways to use my defense mechanisms, to the point that I question, like, do I even want emotional empathy? Do I want to lose some degrees of arrogance? Because I would love to stay grandiose all the time. I'd love to be in a space where I don't have violent self-esteem fluctuations. I am unsure about how practical that is, though, because I feel like they're kind of grandiosity and vulnerability are intrinsically linked. But, that's kind of all I got to say on that. It was just I just want to do a little word dump right there, just kind of going through my thoughts on it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about grandiosity. Is it wrong? Who knows? Is it ethical for everybody to put down people who are being grandiose? Whatever. Anyways, have a good day. Take your fucking meds.